Thank you for listening to our Sunday Plus podcast. For more great content, please use the LifePoint app, which you can download today at lifepointaz.com.
Well, hello and welcome to another episode of Sunday Plus. We're sitting down, a little more comfortable, a little more casual.
So comfy.
We're in the head honcho's office.
That's right, because he went off to somewhere else, so we're just going to use every bit of this space that we can while we can.
Exactly. Man, if you
burn it down.
If you don't know, we have just a campus that is completely busy all of the time.
It's a busy campus.
I think as two people who probably do the most recording on campus, it's pretty crazy because we're always looking for spots. And I think we have confided in each other, like, nowhere.
No. I'm expecting at least once during this whole time that we will be interrupted. There will be a knock at the door.
Or something.
Which is fine. Someone will decide to run like 1,000 copies of something. But
it'll happen. Right. But anyway, so how have you been?
Oh, yeah, very fine.
You are now the leader for the next 10 days or whatever.
I am. I try not to let the power go to my head, but it usually doesn't happen. So by the time Mike gets back, it's time for me to be deflated a little bit.
I think you fire and rehire the entire staff in that 10 days at some point.
At least once.
Yeah, at least once.
Exactly.
So but man, we closed out. Well, not officially, but Pastor Mike obviously is on vacation, and so we closed out the 4 weeks really focusing on the love of God, and then we'll get into the message this next week. Because I'm really excited, and I'm really excited about the speaker as well.
Yeah, man, I get to speak.
Yes, exactly. So we'll kind of give a preview of that message, but man, it was an amazing wrap up to the love of God and to really understanding the things that we do for that love. You know, we had talked about the power of the love of God. We had talked about what God had done for us, and then it transitioned into this thing of obedience and how we obey God because we love him and out of the love that we have for him and others. Yeah. And I thought that was really cool. This past week, though, really hit it home with loving other people and serving other people and doing that well. You know, I thought that was an amazing message. What did you kind of take away from that?
So there's probably a couple things that aren't so spiritual at first glance. Glance, I thought for the most part, especially during this particular sermon, like we could have inserted some power ballads from like the 80s, super easy. I mean, Huey Lewis and the News would have been perfect.
Right.
You got Foreigner, which would have all like.
Gotta love that.
Oh yeah. But anyway, so and the funny thing, I actually looked up the Foreigner lyrics. And it's kind of like the song origin. And oh shoot, now I can't think of the song title. I want to know what love is.
There you go. Can you do the rest of it?
You know.
Karaoke version coming tomorrow. No, I'm joking.
And it was kind of funny because usually, like, there's songs that you look at an origin and it's kind of like, okay, that's really not good. Mm-hmm. But these guys, they started out, it was going to be a personal love song. And then it actually turned out to be more of a gospel piece. And they were in the recording studio. It just wasn't coming together. They had this full choir there. And then he said, you know what? We got together. We all gathered around in a circle. We said the Lord's Prayer. He said, we laid down the next track. It was absolutely the best one. Like, really? We're crying. And I was like, that's weird.
Well,
really weird.
It's interesting that you say that because, and I hope I'm telling this story with accuracy because sometimes I can forget it. But it's funny that you mentioned that song in terms of being kind of like that worship or praise, you know, that thing. Because Macy, when she was in the Philippines, my wife was in the Philippines kind of as an associate, an assistant, working as a missionary for about 11 months. It was really awesome. And she said that there was a revival because they do that a lot over there. And there was a revival that happened, and her and the people that she was with actually had to like almost leave the room because in the middle of worship they had sung I Believe I Can Fly. Like an actual version, like in worship to God. Yes. And I believe that song was also in there, that I Want to Know What Love Is, you know, because it's just I couldn't.
Nice.
I couldn't. I would have to leave the room. I'm not mature enough to handle that kind of expressive worship.
So to bring it back around.
Yes.
To bring it back around. There is that aspect, and it was cool. One of our other pastors on staff here, Pastor John, actually gave us a book this week, and it's called The Greatest Thing in the World. And even before the intro, there's this thing that says, "What is love?" And they declare that it's the supreme good. Love is the supreme good.
Yeah.
And it's only meaningful when it's lived. And this thing, like, even now to time the song, I want to know what love is. I want you to show me. Like, if we do not demonstrate love, if we just say, hey, man, I love you, and then we treat our neighbors like trash, then, man, that's not going to show. It's not going to demonstrate the love of God. And Pastor Mike tied in the Good Samaritan and how that looked. And there's really a lot to that whole thing of we may be able to say one thing, but unless we are living out our love, if love is informing our lives to such a degree that we are now living out of love, that's going to be completely separate from just giving lip service to it.
I think that that's huge too, because this is really the tangible marker that somebody who doesn't experience the love of God or has no clue where to start, this might be the first thing that they see. There's a saying going on right now, and I'm sure you're familiar with it, and maybe you are as well. By the way, let me just say, if I'm holding this, it's because it's wanting to get away from me.
Oh yeah, it is.
It's very, very fun. So I'll just anyway. But going back to that, there's a saying going around that is catching a lot of traction, I think, with people, and that is that there's no hate like Christian love, and it's a tragedy that it's even gotten to a spot where that can be something that not only people say, but that people can actually relate to and find countless stories of oh yeah, I remember when this happened and I remember when this happened. I think that is a lot of people's hesitancy towards Christianity, towards the church, and towards God himself, where they look at the life of a believer lacking love, not only for God, because I think it's easy for us to grab that, right? And we've been unpacking that for the last few weeks about why we should do these things out of our love for God, and because of how he loves us. That's an easy thing. But I think when it's down to loving other people, and especially people who aren't at the spot where we would want them to be, where we would like to see them at, we can kind of toss it away. And that's not how we should live our life. Yeah, I think it's really easy for us to be able to understand the concept of loving God and understanding, hey, he did this because he loved us and we should love him and this is what we're going to do out of our love. But the minute that we try to love other people, especially people who aren't where we think they should be, it can be a very difficult thing. But it can also be somebody's first interaction with the church, with God, with our faith, and we have to be aware of that. One of the things that Pastor Mike said that I actually wrote down in my phone just because it was so good was he was talking about giving other people a glimpse of God and allowing other people to see God in the way that we interact with them, the way that we love them, the way that we care about them, the way that we show that we have a heart for them. That's really the most tangible thing that we can do, that we can see on this side of heaven. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's sad that we've gotten to a spot where people can not only say the word or say the phrase, but actually confide in it, or relate to it, and give stories about oh yeah, this is my experience with, there's no hate like Christian love. It breaks my heart, and I think it speaks to why a focus like we've been over these last few weeks is so important. Yeah.
Now that one thing on that same idea, and one of the verses that Pastor Mike brought out was also something that the kids were learning up in kids' church. Yes. And there's this song, "Beloved, let us love one another," right? So they do that. I mean, I sang that as a kid. Yeah. And the funny thing was, I go home and it's in my head and it's playing over, and I sing the whole thing. And Daniel, my youngest, he's 11, he has this look. He goes, "How in the world do you know that?" I'm like, dude, I've been alive. I've been around a while.
There's nothing new under the sun, right?
There's nothing new. Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, wow, wait, you knew that song?" Like it's been around even before me. Yes. So Grampy probably know that song. But one of the things, and I remember I was struck by that song a little while ago. I had been talking to someone and they were having some interpersonal conflict with someone else, and then their whole thing was, well, I love God, but I'm going to treat this person how I want to. And then really that verse, the end of it is, hey, look, if you say
It's like ABCs.
Yeah. So he that loveth not knoweth not God. So like if you can't love other people because God is love, and there's that expression, then you truly don't know God, because that has to make like everything about you conform to the image of God.
Absolutely. I do. I see it so. It's so easy to grab some of the concepts that of love, especially for God, that we see, but it's very, very difficult in the practicality.
Oh yeah,
because people can sometimes suck. You know what I mean? Like they just can, and they can let you down, and they can hurt you, and it's very easy to withdraw and make. We've been talking about this. You have been really talking about this a lot. This thing of transactional love, and that can be so easy to do interpersonally with other people, and to know that that's not the model that's set, and that's not what we're called to do.
No.
And it is a very strong charge to think that we can actually miss out on knowing God fully and truly. Obviously we can't know him completely fully, but we can actually miss out on pieces of him if we can't love other people. And that's why it's so important. I loved the message. I loved the series. Pastor Mike, if you're watching this from the beautiful shores of Hawaii, you need to break out the hula skirts.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's only been a few years.
That was before my time, but
was it really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I guess it was.
Oh yeah.
Like you weren't even here. You didn't even see it.
No.
Wow.
I've seen the pictures and
time
videos
flies,
and heard the
man.
stories.
Time flies.
But it might be time. Anyway, if you're watching this, Pastor Mike, let me just tell you, you did an amazing job just unpacking this for our church, and we're really, really thankful that we get to do that. And now we get to kind of transition this week. I'm very excited. Can you give us a little bit of a preview, if you will, of what we can expect tomorrow in church?
The Bible. I will be using the Bible.
That's a great place to start.
Yep. And personal anecdotes.
Yeah.
No. I think one of the things that resonates, and one of the things that we really want to take away from this whole series, are some practical ways that you can begin to walk this out, and what that looks like in our daily lives, how we set ourselves up to succeed in loving others through times of silence and solitude, through prayer. And so there are areas in our lives that we can experience and see the love of Christ for us in such powerful ways to really remind ourselves of the enormity of that sacrifice and how he demonstrated, he put love into action in a way that is just mind-boggling when we truly look at all he gave up to come and be here with us on earth. And so that thing of then beginning to walk out our faith and trying to bring some practical points of application for us, and use those baby steps to begin truly being disciples and reflecting the life that Christ lived.
Yeah, that's huge. And on top of it, you get to preach to everybody because it's a generation service.
It's a generation service.
You could be a kids pastor, a youth pastor, an executive pastor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll try all those things. I'm trying to figure out.
All simultaneously.
Do I pull a coin out of someone's ear? Do I come out on a unicycle?
I think as long as you just give candy.
Oh, candy.
You're good. And that goes for kids and adults.
Oh, it does.
Oh, man. It does. Candy is a universal love language.
Absolutely.
Man. Can be. Anyway, it is a generation service, and so I've loved being able to do this over the last couple of years, where we've been able to take the fifth Sunday, and it just so happens that it kicks off 2023, and with the fifth Sunday to just be able to come together. And so we encourage you. We do have a section for kids and youth to sit, but we also encourage you to sit with your families, like be together and take in the word. I know it's going to be an amazing message. I'm so excited about it, and just take that in together as a family and talk about it, whether it's at lunch, whether it's at dinner that night. Be able to start those discussions and start those conversations, because they are massively massively important. I can't tell you, especially as I did kids ministry for a little bit. I'm obviously in youth and young adults now. It is important for parents to get involved. Yeah. It is important for families to stay together and stay united as they discuss these things. You don't want anybody off on an island. Adults, kids, youth, it doesn't matter. Nope. And so yeah, I'm very, very excited. And continue to send in questions. We'll start breaking down some of our own questions here in the next week. I would assume we could start that up. But then continue to text us. We're flashing I keep saying flashing. I said that last week too. But we're giving you the number. Yes, and you can text that number at any time. It doesn't even matter. It can be whenever, and we'll be able to break those down on this podcast. It comes out every Saturday. And thank you so much for watching. Make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and you can also subscribe to us if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, follow us there. I've said it before, I'll say it again. It's amazing because you have 3 whole shows that you can get. You have the Sunday messages, the Wednesday night messages, and then you also have Sunday Plus on the same podcast stream, so that way you can be able to listen to everything.
Bang, bang, boom.
Get everything going. So, man, we hope that you have an incredible rest of your Saturday. We cannot wait to see you tomorrow for church. It's going to be an amazing, amazing day, and we're looking forward to it. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.